Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth. Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.
On City to City this week, we are heading to Dublin in Ireland. Come with us. The city of Dublin in Ireland is not only the capital of the Republic, but is also the spiritual and ancestral home to some 1 million Dubliners today, who are the proud successors to a great heritage bequeathed to them by their proud forebears over 1 millennium and century. One millennium and a century. Dublin is the largest city by size on the island of Ireland. The River Liffey is an unmistakable spectacle to behold for visitors, and sitting on the bay at its mouth is the province of Leinster, bordered on the south by Dublin Mountains, a part of the Wicklow Mountains range. Dublin is a city that carries its proud history on its sleeves. Its people are its treasure. And as happy Dubliners of all classes go about their daily businesses, their city bustles with monuments to the great achievements that have continued to draw visitors from all parts of the world.
Welcome to Homo Politicus. This is Enterprise Television. Kingsley Bassi is my name. And yes, let's focus now today on the 2025 budget. And there's a new budget scandal. And I say a new one because it's not new in Nigeria to have budget scandals. Well, a new one is making the waves in Nigeria. That's a Civic tech non-profit organization in Nigeria, BudgIT, has uncovered over 11,000 projects worth 6.93 trillion naira, reportedly inserted into the national budget. Many of them, they say, with little justification. From inflated allocations to misplaced projects, the revelations raise serious concerns about transparency, about accountability in government spending. And so today I'm joined by the acting head, a tracker, and he's going to dissect the findings and further discuss what this means for the nation's economy and governance. I'm joined today, as mentioned, virtually though, by Joshua Oshiemi. He's the acting head tracker. Joshua, many thanks for joining me today. Welcome to Homo Politicus.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate that. Well, we know that you work closely with the team at BudgIT. As a matter of fact, I suppose it's a sister organization, right? And this publication has since gone viral. Nigerians talking about this revelation. Though, as mentioned, it's not the first time we're having a budget scandal. It feels like we recycle these things. But this 6.93 trillion naira help Nigerians and indeed the world at large understand the magnitude of your findings.
All right, thank you so much for bringing up this discourse this time around again. So it's been all around the news, and I don't think this is in news anymore, because throughout last week this was more or less like the trending topic across the country, about the insertions. And it's just quite unfortunate that this is what we're come to see in Nigeria. Year in, year out, we've always been talking about insertions in the budget. Only that while we are expecting that this is going to recede a little, we are just discovering that the progression through which this is even advancing is far more than what's expected from the National Assembly. So 6.9 trillion it is, from 11,122 projects from different agencies, different ministries. And some of the things that we actually catch your attention would be the fact that where this is to what end actually, where's this leading us? Of course, this National Assembly, it's a body that already has a provision, there's a caveat for it in the national budget every year. They get about 100 billion naira for their constituency projects. That's the zonal intervention project, which is meant to be like a give back to their constituents, to say we are also doing something for you people, and for the services that we are rendering to you, you can also take this. Project nomination is actually not the function of any NAS member, and I stand to be corrected on that. I know that they have appropriation powers, of course, on the budget, but you don't use the appropriation power that you have to misappropriate the budget, and then you do that even to your advantage and to the disadvantage of Nigerians. And I'm going to bring that to perspective. You have some of these line items that we have being about caring for traditional rulers, taking up street lights up and down, which are running into billions. I don't know how much a lot of Nigerians, but I'm going to explain what that means to you. In the next 80 years, anybody that earns 1 million naira per month in Nigeria, you cannot even make up to a billion naira. That's it. If you can do the calculation yourself, if you earn 1 million naira every month in this country, that's 12 million naira per year.
That's just 24 million. It's a far cry.
No. I'm even saying if you work for the next 80 years.
Okay.
You have not made up to 1 billion naira, and we are talking about 6.9 trillion naira in this case. So that's a whole lot of money. You bring the budget of the entire Southwest together for this 2025. It's not even up to that. Not to talk about, of course, and don't forget that Lagos has the largest budget amongst all the states in the country in this year. So it's a whole lot of things, The National Assembly have a clear-cut responsibility, which is about representation, it's about appropriation, and oversight on the legislative, on the executive arm of government. So if they are leaving all of these and focusing more on what they should even be performing oversight on, then it tells us of the lots of work that we still have on our hands as Nigerians. Yeah.
Well, let's focus and a little bit more on these findings. 11,000, more than 11,000 really projects, found to have been inserted. Well, we can, the figures maybe because these figures, they are screaming literally at you when you hear the figure 6.93 trillion naira. But let's narrow things down a little bit. Are there examples of some ridiculous insertions, or some that you just find that should definitely not be there? Maybe some frivolous ones located to ministries or departments, agencies of government that shouldn't be.
So of course, it's a whole lot of projects. You just mentioned that we have. I'm talking about the insertions now. The insertions is up to 11,162, and that's just a conservative figure. If you really want to dig deep into that level of insertion that was made, definitely it's going to be more than that, sincerely speaking. Quite a number of ridiculous items, quite a number of placements of projects under ministries and agencies that do not even have the mandate to carry them out. And these are some of the things we've been mentioning year in, year out on the budget, but it's most likely like that the federal government is not just ready to yield to some of these things that we
Joshua, are there certain ministries, departments, or agencies of government that maybe they are specifically targeted? Are there patterns? I mean, we've seen one pattern which is general, right? We see these scandals happen from one budget cycle to another one. But are there specific patterns as to maybe a ministry being targeted where these insertions happen without Nigerians suspecting?
No, Nigerians have to suspect. It's not difficult to suspect it. So let me give you an example. So we have these street lights all around the country now. I don't know how many of them you have in your own area, but quite well. We have them almost dispersed across the length and breadth of the country. We are beginning to suspect that it is a pathway to siphon funds in the country. And then you look at the agencies under which they are seated, you get to understand that these are agencies that do not even have anything to do with this kind of projects. I'm more particular about federal colleges of across the country, federal colleges generally. What we are getting from them, we are really not impressed. There's a federal college of horticulture in Dadinkowa, that's in Gombe State.
Okay.
You have that. Of course, College of Horticulture, you know what horticulture means, you know what they are meant to be doing, but you just discover that these will be the ones that are going to be taking care of health projects, they're going to be taking care of building of classrooms,
So they are supporting the Ministry of Education.
I'm going to be very specific about maybe 4 of them. I mentioned that in Kowa, which is in Gombe State.
Yes.
FCC, that's the Federal Cooperative College, or G River, which is in Enugu State. We have Federal Cooperative College in Ibadan, and then we have NIBRI, that's Nigerian Building and Road Research Institute. All of these, the projects that they are coming up with are not hard enough, but that's Nigeria for you. And it all brings to the question of the fact that how involved the Nigerians in all of this. For example, if you know that a project is ceded to your community, you also have the duty of also wanting to follow up with this kind of project to know that eventually they are delivered. Because if you ask any House of Rep member or any senator now, they want to tell you that we are doing this for my constituency. But how informed that this constituency you're talking about, how much of involvement they have in all of this? And the more you're not involved in all of this, the more the likelihood of this being misappropriated.
You've just maybe responded to my question. What should be my next question, though? But I'd like that we maybe expand on that a little bit. You've mentioned that some projects were assigned to certain agencies of government lacking the capacity to execute them because it's not part of their mandate. Yeah, maybe you want to help Nigerians understand the importance of what you are saying. How damaging really is this to national development? Having projects assigned to ministries that is clearly outside their mandate. You've mentioned, federal. Some of this, I think the 4 you've mentioned, they're not even. Some of them are not agencies of government familiar to the average Nigerian on the streets. and that takes me back to my initial question. Are these agencies deliberately targeted because they know Nigerians won't look in that direction?
So it's very simple, and if you are somebody who has been following the trend, you will get to understand some of these things. Some of these they are in remote places where, of course, obscurity is one of the major tools they want to use in this case because they are not really known. So for an agency, have you even heard of that in Kowa before? Do you even know where it is? Do you even know where Oji River is? So because these agencies are not really well known, so they know that there's going to be focus on maybe the prominent agencies. So they want to take their activities away from those, and then maybe just hide this under the ones that are not very, very popular. But we have been seeing the trends over the years, and of course we are calling out. I did another analysis on the constituency project, which will be coming out very soon, and then you will still get to understand that these federal colleges across the country are still a very big target. And of course, they are not just getting it. It's because most of these projects are under the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. There used to be a time that ministry was not called that. It was Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development.
Yes.
So you want to believe that because of the rural development that is attached to the name, you can allow them to also maybe do something that has to do with maybe road rehabilitation, street light, and all of that. But now you don't have anything like that anymore. So what you have is agriculture and food security. Every day, every now and then, we complain about food insecurity in the country, and you expect that maybe the ministry is going to be working in tandem with river basin development authorities of the country, whose mandate is really about ensuring that there's food sufficiency across the length and breadth of the country. But we just cover that they have other agenda, by sending some of these projects to some of these agencies.
Joshua, as part of the publication by BudgIT revealing this inserted budget, what did this state, and I'll quote directly, quote, most of this project are tied to the political value of the lawmakers and are indiscriminately added to the budgets of several ministries, departments, and agencies. You want to help explain that part that states political value. What political value does this give the lawmakers who have inserted this somehow?
All right, so of course you want to understand that in the National Assembly you have hierarchies. So you I don't know, of course you should be familiar with this saying about all animals are equal, but some are more equal. And that's what operates in the National Assembly. So they are actually expected to be equal, but they are not actually equal because of the position some of them are occupying. So you want to expect that somebody like the Senate President, for example, is not going to be getting the same cut with maybe an ordinary floor member, So the Speaker and all the principal offices, 10 of them actually in both chambers. So 10 each in both chambers. So that means you have 10 principal officers. And another principal officer that people may not really be looking out for is the chairman of appropriation committee. These are people who are getting a lot of projects in the National Assembly.
Interesting. And how's that tied to their political value, though? Does this mean, re-election for them, or what?
So, of course, it is. They believe that that's what they have, and that's why you have it that at the beginning of every NAS, the tension is always going to be very high. You have different people vying for different political offices, even in the House. At the NAS, and that's to tell you that they know how juicy those kind of positions they want to occupy will be, and that's why you have the tension to that heightened a little, when they are assuming the offices. And I'm going to say this to you, that the political values that are attached to this is that you expect that somebody who happens to be a principal officer, for example, is going to be able to do more to his constituency than somebody that is not, but it doesn't still translate to development, and that's where this whole problem lies. So it's not even about the 11,102 projects you are inserting into the budget. It's about what value is it bringing to national development? What value is it adding to our economy? What value is it bringing to an average Nigerian? You know, an average Nigerian. This is the same NAS whose budget was raised from about 178 billion that they were getting before to about 344 billion. And then you keep on telling Nigerians that they should just continue to be patient, that everything is going to be better. How does that make sense? You are telling us to be patient, that things are going to get better, but on your own end, you are not even sacrificing anything for the country. And you are the people who are well-to-do in the society, so we believe that the lots of the sacrifices should even be coming from you and not from the average Nigerians.
Well, Joshua, we've been talking a lot about the government side. Let's talk about Nigerians now. This revelation has come. As you mentioned, there's been the buzz around this for a few days now, more than 1 week. A lot of talking about this, that this might continue for a few more days before another major story drops. And even the media, we're responsible. Yeah, we push some other stories and then this is relegated. But what's the response you want from Nigerians following these findings? What kind of response, what kind of action must be taken to ensure we continue to hold government to account, National Assembly members, lawmakers representing people at the grassroots, and then the executive as well should be implementing these things to ensure accountability and improve transparency?
So our role is very clear, as much as we're going to be law-abiding citizens of the country, we also should understand the fact that no lawmaker can get to that position today except through yourself as a Nigerian. Because no lawmaker can get to the house without a set of people they are representing. So it is the representation that has actually given them the edge to be there as representatives of the people. So these people must not sit aloof and believe that this set of people can do whatever they like at their own end, and then we will be here and doing whatever we also like at our own hand. It's not going to be helpful to the democracy that we are professing to be practicing in the country. It's not going to be helpful in any way. So the best bet is that Nigerians must get involved in all of this. Now you are aware of the work, of the lots of work the budget has put into unraveling this. So it is our responsibility as citizens to say, okay, which of these projects actually come? Of course, we're not even talking about ambiguous projects that do not even have any specific definition. But out of all of these that we have talked about, most of them are tied to certain communities. Most of them are tied to certain cities. Most of them are tied to certain states in the country. So the ones that are tied to specific places, people must be able to make demands on where exactly do you want to do this. You can write FOI letters to the agencies that want to execute all of these projects. So you can ask them questions about when is this project eventually coming to our own place, because we are already aware. So people must not just sit aside and say let governance continue from the people at the ends of affairs and we will continue to live our lives the way we want. No, it has to be all encompassing. And the more pressure we apply to these people, and the more responsive, the more accountable, and the more transparent they want to become to us. Yeah.
Joshua, I'm tempted to wrap the conversation, with this, on this note, because you've just made a very valid point about citizen participation in governance and the entire process, and that's the crux of the matter. Really, we can sit here and talk about the problem all show long, show after show, but the most important thing are those solutions that you mentioned. But just before we wrap though, are you worried? Understand understand BudgIT as written, to both the presidency, the agencies of government involved, the National Assembly, as well as to these findings. Are you worried about the deafening silence regarding this? There's been no comment, because we know that if this is a political matter, something bordering on elections, on defections, some say accusation, rumor about this person moving from here to this person doing this, there would have been a response. Are you worried that there is no response really, both from the presidency or the National Assembly to these revelations?
Yes, I am. I'm worried, and I'm going to tell you why I'm worried. Because just like I mentioned to you, that everybody that's occupying any government position today has never gotten there by their personal volition. You must have gotten there by some votes from a certain quarters, So, and it tells us that this same set of people can always question you on how you are representing them. So if we, of course, you also expect that everybody in BudgIT, everybody that works in BudgIT also belongs to a senatorial district, also belongs to a particular federal constituency, So that means we are, one way or the other, a voice of the people we are representing in our own little way, And so if we are saying we have found this out in the budget, at least for a responsive government or a responsive administration, it is expected at least somebody is coming out to address the entire issue. But if this is not coming out, it is passing a signal. And I'm going to leave you with a quote by somebody, I can't even remember the name of the person again. But they said in a democracy, when the government stops being afraid of the people, then something is wrong. When a government stops seeing the criticism from the people as something important to respond to, it is already passing a message that you guys are powerless. There's nothing you can do about it. Whatever it is we like, we do, and there's nothing you can do about it. And it's a very saddening development in the country. It's also possible that the silence also means admittance in this case. That of course we have been caught red-handed, and of course there's no defense for us in this case. So it could be either of the two, but whichever one it is, for a proper administration, a proper government, it is just right that you have somebody to come out to address the populace to say this is the situation of things, and this is what we intended to do with what has happened, and it's as simple as that.
I'm very sure that those in the presidency see what's happening with the media, because they've responded several times to media reports. This revelations by BudgIT is definitely a public document. They must have seen. They can't claim that they've not seen this, and so we expect some form of response from the National Assembly. We expect one.
And also assume that they are also still preparing their
reports. Okay, so we give them the benefit of the doubt from a budget that they prepared themselves.
Yeah, it's almost 2 weeks already. So.
I mean, again, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah. I was going to say that for a budget they prepared themselves, don't they know exactly why they put these projects there?
And one funny thing about all of this is that for you to, because it takes you a whole year to prepare for another budget. So immediately you have passed this, we believe that all the MDs must have gone back to their respective agencies and departments to start another process. And then you have done this for a whole year, and then the NAS is saying that you have possibly omitted 11,122 projects. Is that not passing a vote of no confidence on the executive arm of government? If you are saying, oh, that's... Anyways, I think we should leave the conversation like that. So
well,
that's what we have.
Interesting point you've raised there. It reminds me of the All Progressives Congress All Progressives Congress National Summit in Abuja just a few days ago, where the vote of confidence was passed on the president. As a matter of fact, the president of the Senate called on the Speaker of the House of Reps to pass that. There was a mock National Assembly session where they, passed the vote of confidence on the president and declared him contesting unopposed. That's how they say that. Yeah, I'm not a politician, pardon me. Yes, he's going to contest unopposed. That's what they said. But just to bring that forward, since you mentioned the vote of no confidence, really. But let's leave things there, Joshua, today, and just continue to follow this matter. Hopefully, like you said, they are preparing some form of rebuttal, some form of response, and maybe it's going to be robust. That's why it's taken quite a lot to put together the report so that can be released to the public as to why we have more than 11,000 worth 6.93 trillion naira. That's just some millions away from 7 trillion naira worth of projects inserted by the National Assembly into the 2025 budget. Well, another time will come to even talk about the performance of the budget so far. It's it's another conversation entirely. Joshua Oshiemi has been my guest today. Is the acting head at Tracker, another fine non-governmental organization doing good to hold government to account, tracking literally what needs to be tracked across the country. Joshua, thank you so much for your time.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Really do appreciate that, and well done to yourself, your team, and indeed your sister organization, BudgIT, for what you do. We hope that this would mean meaningful development, would translate into meaningful development for the country. Again, thank you for your time. Kingsley Bass is my name. Stop by the comment section. Let's know what you think of this conversation and indeed the grand scheme, which is a national development in Nigeria, because really this is what this is about. This conversation is about. It's about national development, allocating what needs to be allocated to the right agencies, the right ministries, and getting things done the right way, ensuring that the dividends of democracy reaches the right persons. Because Joshua, I know I've said goodbye already, but it just came to mind. We have a deficit with this budget, right? Part of this 6.9 that was inserted will still be funded by loans and the deficits we have. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong.
Of course, you're not wrong. I already told this sometimes ago on your show that the budget deficit is about 24% of the entire budget itself. So that's a whole lot. How to be adding all of this to it.
Oh well.
We said all of this with loans and maybe aids from foreign organizations and all that.
Oh well. Well, let's leave things there then. Joshua, thank you again for your time. Kingsley Bass is my name. Until next time, may God continue to bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Bye for now. Welcome to Homo Politicus. This is Enterprise Television. Kingsley Bass is my name. And yes, let's focus now today on the 2025 budget. And there's a new